The Treaty of Versailles, signed on June 28, 1919, in the Hall of Mirrors at the Palace of Versailles, was the most significant peace agreement that officially ended World War I. Negotiated over 6 months at the Paris Peace Conference, it was shaped primarily by the victorious Allied leaders, French Prime Minister Georges Clemenceau, British Prime Minister David Lloyd George, and U.S. President Woodrow Wilson. Each had differing goals. Clemenceau sought severe punishment for Germany to ensure it would never pose a threat to France again. Lloyd George wanted a balanced approach that would weaken Germany while allowing it to remain a viable trading partner, and Wilson pushed for his idealistic vision of a new world order based on self-determination and the League of Nations. However, Germany was excluded from the negotiations and was presented with a dictated peace, which it had no real power to contest. One of the treaty's most infamous provisions was Article 231, the War Guilt Clause, which placed sole responsibility for the war on Germany and its allies. This clause served as the legal basis for demanding heavy reparations, which were eventually set at 132 billion gold marks, a staggering sum that placed an immense economic burden on Germany. The treaty also imposed drastic military restrictions. Germany's army was capped at 100,000 troops, conscription was banned, its navy was limited to 6 battleships, and the possession of submarines, tanks, and an air force was prohibited. The heavily industrialized Rhineland was to be permanently demilitarized and occupied by Allied forces for 15 years, further limiting Germany's ability to defend itself. Territorially, Germany suffered significant losses. Alsace-Lorraine was returned to France. The Saar Basin was placed under League of Nations administration for 15 years, after which a plebiscite would determine its fate, and the coal-rich region of Upper Silesia was partially awarded to the newly independent Poland. The creation of Poland from former German, Austrian, and Russian territories resulted in the controversial Polish Corridor, which granted Poland access to the Baltic Sea but severed East Prussia from the rest of Germany, creating a lasting source of tension. The port city of Danzig, modern-day Gdansk, was made a free city under League of Nations supervision. Germany also lost all its overseas colonies, which were redistributed as mandates among Britain, France, and Japan. Beyond Germany, the Treaty of Versailles played a major role in reshaping the map of Europe. The Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires were dismantled, leading to the creation of new states such as Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia, while the former Ottoman territories in the Middle East were placed under British and French control through the mandate system. Wilson's push for national self-determination led to some ethnic groups gaining independence, but it also created new tensions, as many minorities now found themselves under foreign rule in these newly formed nations. Despite Wilson's advocacy, the U.S. Senate refused to ratify the treaty, and the United States never joined the League of Nations, significantly weakening its credibility as an international peacekeeping body. The treaty's harsh terms caused outrage in Germany, where it was regarded as a humiliating, dictated peace. The economic hardship caused by reparations contributed to hyperinflation in the early 1920s and political instability, fueling the rise of extremist movements. The Weimar Republic, already struggling with domestic unrest, faced significant opposition from nationalist groups who blamed the government for accepting the humiliating terms. Over the following decades, resentment toward the treaty became a powerful tool for Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party, who exploited German grievances to justify rearmament, expansion, and ultimately, the outbreak of World War II. In retrospect, the Treaty of Versailles is often criticized for its failure to establish lasting peace. While it sought to weaken Germany and prevent future conflict, its punitive nature created deep-seated resentment that ultimately contributed to an even more devastating global war. The treaty remains one of the most debated diplomatic agreements in history, serving as a cautionary example of the consequences of imposing excessively harsh terms on a defeated nation.